here. So basically coming in today, we weren't sure which way we would go. Market had a decent pullback from last Friday. We had Google, we had Microsoft, both came in a little bit better than feared. So we weren't sure if they would hold or not. Would they put their high in the first 5, 15, 30 minutes, or would they grind up and hold where they had to? And would that give us some clues that the spies and the Qs and other things could go? That's how we connect the dots. So I'm going to give a real fasty here, basically a few things we said to look at. This was the Qs. I think this was the language this morning. All right. Qs hit a high of 308.55, which was right here. That was Friday. Made a low there. We'll see how tech does with Microsoft and Google trying to bounce. Use 290-ish, 298 as his key spot. Can it hold that spot, or does it fade? Well, not only did it hold that spot, it had a really nice move up to the prior high of 308.55. I came in long the Qs from yesterday. I bought it after hours when things were acting well, and sometimes it gives you conviction to hold all day. Well, if you go to the bottom, I guess I don't know if you could even do that. It's so many freaking buys and sells, but it shows I came in and I'm still in it. I just actually bought a little bit into that sell-off in Meta, and I got myself a little bit more comfortable. And now we'll see what's next. All in all, too, I bought Google after hours, and then what's it called? Wound up trading it up pretty well. And lastly, sometimes I buy something after the earnings. My first buy on Microsoft. I don't even know how you could see. How do you see just from the beginning? I guess you don't, because it's so many buys and sells. Shows you that I'm a real trader. I don't sit here on my tush, you know what I'm saying? Besides having to do charts and everything. But either which way, that was one key. So Microsoft, the question was, would it get above and stay above 268? It quickly dipped for a blink early in the session, and then gave you a really nice move. If you go to the intraday, came in, and then literally 265 was another level that it broke above. Talked about how if it held 260, you can get to 265. If it got to 265, you can get to 269, and that's how we connect the dots. I made a lot of money in Microsoft today, probably the most I've made in a while, and I had no option strategies on. Sometimes I put an option strategy on, sometimes I'll trade it after, and this was a good one. Now what? I don't know. I kind of think it's going to be really hard for just to push through 269 so fast. If anything, little sideways action above 265, which I would think if it's going to be any good, that's what it's going to want to hold. This should hold 265-ish. It holds 265-ish. Maybe there could be more. I have it overnight. I don't have a hell of a lot. If it was down $2-3, I wouldn't be that upset. I'd probably play it from a red to green. If it was up $2-3, I would trim some. That's how I'm looking to do that. Same thing with the Qs. I'm still in the Qs. Chances are it's not going to be able to take out this 308.55, so fast, but I wouldn't mind if it's down and does a little sideways action. SPYs also had a nice move. This SPYs actually took out 418. So took out 418, which was last Friday's high. Put a little high of 402.88 and then pulled back. I wasn't that active there, but I made a little bit of money. I was more involved with the Qs. But if you were in this, chances are I don't think that, somebody, Red Dogs, double top, push through failure. I'm like, some say, hey, what, the Fed usually go up the day of the Fed and then you go down the day after. Maybe that trend's getting a little too easy to, to gauge. So we'll see. Either which way, what I did at the end of the day is I actually said, hey, I do have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 longs. Just in case they do that, I sold some 407 calls for like $1, just so at least I have a hedge that if we are lower tomorrow, I get to keep that premium and then trade around my positions. But not a lot, just started that. And if we were to go higher tomorrow, I would short a little bit higher strike. Google, also, if you look where these things are, they're nowhere. All this did is gap up and took out 109, got through 112. So some would say, hey, isn't this more resistance? I'd say, okay, well, now it's a new point of reference. That's 113.90. So you could put 113.90 there. Then this is 115.50. And then at some point, I don't think there's, if the market wants to be half full, this already reported. And if it wants to get up to there, it could. There's no more, there's no more news coming out on Meta. I guess it'll trade with Meta. Meta actually gave a quick move lower and then retraced back up. At this point, I don't think I would do anything with it. If anything, it just felt too easy to short. You had a little Redler reversal after hours, and then it gave you an inside range. I drew some lines yesterday. Some people said it helped. So now if this is going to be any good, long side, I would think it would hold this spot, this 165-ish area. But ultimately, I don't, unless they say really something about reels in their conference call. Typically, they're very cautious in their conference call. Oh, Qualcomm's a little off. But anyway, this is how I would, compartmentalize that. If you're long it, give it to 165. If you think it's going to continue, it's going to have to say something really positive on its conference call. But I really wouldn't be so on my toes to be buying it there. But again, we'll see, anything could happen. If you look at Meta, Meta wasn't on the debt. The things that rallied like a Google or a Microsoft, they were down hard into it. And now anytime you're up into it, it's harder to rally. So be careful playing it too. It's my little, this is, Brandon gave this to me as a present, and Brandon's gone. I wish he was here. I'm sorry. I'm still trying to make sure I get as much work out to you guys as possible. But anyway, so this is Meta. It's still in this lower range. It's still, near the dead lows of this entire thing. Was up today. So it'll be interesting to see what it does. Some buyers came in, so they couldn't really punish it after hours. And now we have to see what's kind of next year. Will it retrace back to 183 or not? Some guys had a really good day in Netflix. I went out with that as a power play yesterday. Pulled into 211 and turned up really nicely. Now this to me looks like it's really viable on dips. And chances are, I would think, it sees this 248 gap or somewhere into that 100-day. We'll see. So if you went home long it, or got long it yesterday or got long it today, congratulations. Took out this high, and now next spot is 229. Where is Netflix today? Netflix is 225.80. So we'll see how if it opens down tomorrow, maybe it goes right to green. And then we'll see how it deals with, this was 219, how it deals with this 229. If it takes that out and people are short Netflix, chances are you get a nice little trade there. So we'll see. And then this would be my target, this gap. This would be where I would say on the power plays I would be trimming some. I did buy a little arc back just because I feel like, the SPYs and the Qs are back at highs. This got below the trend line, traded back above it real fast, so maybe they caught some shorts by surprise. So I'm in some, not a hell of a lot, but now you could, have a new point of reference there. My best day trade today was really just was Shop. If you remember, I came in and I'm like, you know what? They threw the kitchen sink at Shop. Who the hell's left to sell this thing? And lo and behold, Shop held the 30-ish and filled that gap. What was my language? Thank goodness we used a tier sim to do. Then Wednesday got hit hard. See if there's a 5, 15, 30-minute low to trade against or avoid. Kathy bought more. Didn't capitulate like coin, saying, hey, Kathy's still buying this. All of a sudden, it was down $1.50 when I was doing the morning call. Then it was only down 30 cents. I started buying it, and it wound up being a really nice trade. It did put its low in the first, right here, 5, 15 minutes, and then boom. Chillo was all over it. Got to give him some congrats. Up 10%. He made really good money there. And now it's, still just in this lower range in no man's land. So anyway, we'll see where, how it opens tomorrow. But that could act better also. So today was pretty constructive on a lot of different ways, a lot of different things. Qualcomm, wasn't great, and it's had a big move, so I might have a little trouble tomorrow. Ultimately, what did it do after hours? Came in, it's trying to hold around here. No interest except for it's really going to have to hold this spot, otherwise, it could be a little vulnerable tomorrow. It's been a strong stock, so you can't have a weak report on a strong stock, and this is a little bit below this right now, so watch that spot. AMD's probably down a little bit also, I guess, with it, maybe. It's still holding 90, actually. AMD looks at a lot of things. A lot of these things have like a 3-4 day pullback, took out yesterday's highs, and
spokesperson says we are not currently in a recession or a pre-recession.
White House is saying we're not in a recession, so I guess they know what the GDP will be tomorrow. We shall see. So all in all, bunch of things to do. In the first 30 minutes, the market proved strong, and then once Powell was speaking, the market also proved strong. So, lots of different ways to do it. If you look here, go to the intraday, Powell came out and started speaking, and basically took out the afternoon range. So if you wanted to wait, that was your spot to buy, or that was your spot to buy, then there you go. So you had a morning move, went into your afternoon consolidation, and then continuation. Can't really ask for a better trading day than that, unless you had short in the brain and, I don't know, didn't adjust fast enough, which I think a lot of us adjusted pretty well. So it's 440. I would think this move, if we don't just get blindsided tomorrow, because sometimes you do get a trend day the next day and it's different than the day before. So if all of a sudden, the worst thing would be is if we give back what we had gained today. That wouldn't really surprise me, but I don't think it happens. Obviously, Meta's conference call is going to be important. As of right now, they kind of saved it from getting really hit. You did have a lot of participation across the board. We've seen that, though, before on some Fed days. So just make sure you have overnight what you can handle and don't go over your skis, and we'll see what tomorrow brings. All in all, though, good day adjusting, just changing some gears. Wound up making what I lost in my option plays in Google in the stock. That's what you do with options and earnings. If you want to place something into earnings, thinking there's going to be a huge gap one way or another, you do options, and then if it doesn't go your way, then you figure out how to trade it thereafter. Because the way you guess into earnings is just a guess. So you never put too much on the line. So hopefully intraday, if it trades well, you make a hell of a lot more, because you have more size and you have better intraday things to gauge it against, like a Microsoft. So we'll see. Like Apple right now, I didn't trade Apple. I have puts on and might be a zero, but I didn't short it all day saying, well, I have puts on, I'm going to be right. I was like, no, it's hanging in there. Microsoft's up, and I guess T-Mobile was something more on the positive side versus the Verizon and AT&T on the negative side, and we'll see what happens. If it doesn't make money, it doesn't make money, and that's really it. I'll see you guys tomorrow. I have a lot to get going here, and I'll be here in the morning with Alex and Joe who want to watch the morning process. So I'm letting them, so I'll be interactive with them here. So that's who will be here, and I'll make sure I get everything out as timely as possible, and I'll let them know that they have to they want to watch. Otherwise, I don't get invited back. Later, guys. I'm glad everyone had a decent day today. We could all use it.